What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your co-host Donovan Quick, and guys, we have to have a uncomfortable conversation about what changes might be needed for the Dolphins this offseason. My biggest one might be Mike McDaniel relinquishing play calling duties. Now, our offensive coordinator currently is Frank Smith. He is getting interviews with a couple of teams requested by the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Seahawks. So we will see if he gets any of those jobs. I do believe that he's going to at least get one job offered to him this offseason. So I definitely do not see him being on the staff next year. So who replaces him? Now, there are some interesting names out there, but I think the most likely scenario is going to be Darrell Bevell, a quarterback's coach, being promoted to offensive coordinator. And I actually wouldn't mind this move. Darrell Bevell working closely with Tua. He knows what he likes. He knows what he's thinking. These are guys that just, they work so well together, Darrell Bevell and Tua. And the reason I would love this to happen, and I love Frank Smith. I want him to stay. If he stays, that'll be perfect. But if Darrell Bevell does step up into the OC role, I think it'll be a little bit easier for Mike McDaniel to relinquish play calling duties to Darrell Bevell. Look, you're a head coach. Not everybody can call plays. Situational play calling has not been there for him in these big games. In the Bills game, both Bills games, both Chiefs games, the Eagles game, the end of the Titans game, we needed to just get a first down. We kind of played it a little bit safe, and then we let them go down and score, and then we couldn't go down and stay in bounds and get the right plays to be able to kick a field goal to win that game. So that was a tough one to swallow. And you know, that's I'd be comfortable with, you know, I think Tua, you know, would be more comfortable and maybe a little bit more free with Darrell Bevell as a play caller. Darrell Bevell as OC and a play caller, I kind of low-key want it to happen. Now, Mike McDaniel, look, he vastly improved from last season to this season as far as his execution with the play calls. And by that, I mean last year we were constantly getting delayed games, constantly breaking the huddle with under 10 seconds, constantly just 7 seconds breaking the huddle, and then, you know, boom, we're there, delay a game. And that whole sequence got so much better this offseason, and we saw that, and it paid dividends. However, I think, you know, from last year to this year, we kind of babied Tua a little bit more, trying to protect him a little too much. We saw last year he was more of like a gunslinger. This year he got the ball out quickly. Lots of motions, lots of confusions, and you know, just you're throwing the ball here no matter what kind of thing, and not necessarily letting him go out and play ball, sit behind a line, and throw the ball. And you know, a lot of that could be that the offensive line just hasn't been good, but you know, in some games that they hold up. Now Eichenberg, he's not a center, guys. He was ranked 37 out of 37 per PFF. He played fairly well in the run game. I'll give him that. When he can lean forward after a snap and push someone, that's fine. But when he has to snap the ball and stand up and pass block, he just gets pushed into his lap, and it just doesn't work out that well. So we're definitely going to have to address the center position this offseason. But play calling, man. I just can't get past the atrocious game plan and play calling in the Chiefs game. I really can't. And I went into that game already kind of being like, yo, Jacob, my co-host, if this isn't a good, you know, play called game or game plan that we have for them, execution, like, I might be inclined to kind of start questioning his play calling abilities. You know, his play designs are fantastic. His mind is amazing. He's a young coach, and he's vastly improving every single year. This team is ready to win now. It can't wait for you. Now, Darrell Bevell, I'm not sure of his play calling history, but I know he knows Tua. And I would love to see him, go go and make those necessary changes in this play calling, and let Tua be a little bit more free sometimes. Like, yeah, the quick stuff, it works more often than not, but I want to let loose. I want him to be able to make his reads, to read a defense, and not be so coddled. And I think that's what Mike McDaniel is doing. He's coddling him. I mean, we're talking about a guy that almost retired last year from concussions. Jalen Phillips retired once because of concussions. Now he's one of the best edge defenders that we've had in the past 10 years. That is one position. That is one position that I do think we could use a change. Now, another one, very curious actually. So a lot of people were talking about not being surprised if Fangio retires or gets fired. I don't necessarily agree with him being fired. Now, if he retires because he's just tired of it, that's fine. But him being fired, we gave up since Ramsey came back, including the 56 points that was given up by the Dolphins against the Ravens. Since Ramsey came back, we gave up 19 points a game. If you don't count that Ravens game, we give up 16 points a game. Look, it sucks as much yards as we gave up. It sucks all the injuries that we've had. But at the end of the day, your goal is to not give up points, and we didn't. I hate bend don't break. I hate it with a passion. If you're telling me that we go into every game every year and be confident that our defense is going to hold you to less than 20 points, how many games should we win in that? How many games should we win in that? It's that's how the Browns got to the playoffs. I mean, given when they're away from home, they gave up nearly 30 points a game, but when they're at home, they gave up 13. Dolphins, home and away, were very consistent on defense when Ramsey was there. I can't, they also learned the concepts. Took them a little bit, to learn the concepts. Is a completely different scheme than they've been running for the past 3-4 years, 5 years. Under Flores and Josh Boyer, they ran a lot of man-to-man with a lot of blitzing. And, we saw that a little bit in the Chiefs game, but that's because we were without any pass rushers. So, yeah, guys, I can't necessarily agree with, Fangio being fired. But Anthony Campanile, our linebackers coach, famous on Hard Knocks for his one of his speeches in the first couple episodes. Really a rah-rah guy. Kind of reminds me of Dan Campbell, not going to lie, but Italian. And he's interviewing for some defensive coordinator positions. I wouldn't mind that, if Fangio does happen to retire, if he's promoted. I really like our coaching staff top to bottom. I think the only thing I would change is having Gerald Alexander back here, because that's my dude. And I really, really liked him down here on Flores' coaching staff. The players really liked him. They talk all the time with their players. I mean, having a good relationship like that and having the success that our secondary had when he was here is unparalleled. And I would really love to have him back here in South Florida. That's about the only change I would make from the current coaching staff on the defensive side. Special teams. I've been calling for Danny Crossman's head for like 3 years now. This is probably the safest I've ever had him. Honestly, our kick coverage has been vastly improved this year. Jason Sanders vastly improved this year. You also go back to the punt return for a touchdown. that's on Cameron Good knee just exploding. His knee doesn't explode. He's probably tackled at like the 20. And who knows what happens in that game, because that momentum doesn't shift like that. But yeah, this is probably the safest he's ever been, in my opinion. I still don't like him. There's not many special teams coaches. I mean, we were accustomed to great special teams for so many years, because we had Darren Rizzi here, and that dude was amazing. Best special teams coordinator, I believe, in the entire NFL. I don't think there's a better special teams coordinator besides head coach Harbaugh. Like, that's literally the only other special teams coach that I would probably take over him. Yeah, and being accustomed to that greatness, and then being handed Darren Rizzi or handed Danny Crossman, where our special teams are just mediocre at best. Our punting unit is terrible. Like, our kick coverage is decent, our punt coverage is decent, but we can't return for anything. Our punters never have we haven't had a good punter since Matt Darr. Morstead had a good year last year, but like, Matt Darr was that dude. Yeah, very disappointed with our special team staff, and hopefully it'll get better, but I don't foresee any changes there. I think the biggest change that's going to have to be made is going to have to be Mr. Mike McDaniel giving up play calling duties. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Deuces.